Well, hello, Doc. Hello, hello, hello. How are you this evening? Yes, I'm wearing a thermal. I'm freezing for some reason. I It's not that cold in the house. It's like 72, but man, I tell you what, I've just been freezing this afternoon. I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing pretty well. Wife and I actually had the same day off today, and I drug her out to Walmart and the grocery store. Man, I went in there grocery store. We didn't buy anything. We bought a bag of dog food, and here comes the rain. Bag of dog food, couple personables, a few other odds and ends. Oh, we bought some laundry soap. I kid you not, we didn't walk out of there with much of anything and spent $200. You believe that crap? So the dog food, it's a 38 pound bag of dog food. Um, it's the Purina One Pure Instinct turkey and venison setup. Hey, Steven. And it was 30 or 60, $63 for a bag of dog food. I'm like, are you kidding me? So while we're standing there, I got on Amazon's website and punched in the same thing. They've got it for $49 with free shipping. I told the wife, says, well, that's the way we're going to buy it next time. I'll just have it shipped right to the shop, and I'll bring it home that way. Walmart's really starting to piss me off more than it. I mean, it's pissed me off pretty bad before, and I keep going back because I can find stuff in there. So, but that's ridiculous. So I guess it's time to start shopping a little bit heavier. Excuse me. Hey, if you're just coming in, make sure to smash that thumbs up for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Um, Helps the YouTube algorithm get these out there. I don't get a lot of people out here, not like I'd hoped, but I could use the support. I appreciate it. So, host Smitty just about got his butt fired this last week. So I was uh, I was trying to help out one of the salesmen up there at the dealership, and he'd had an older Tahoe that transmission went out of, and I was like, he asked me, he says, "Hey, can you go through that thing for me?" I said, "Sure." And so I had him bring it up to work because I can't lay on my back and pull a transmission out anymore. I could, but man, I pay for it for the next couple of days. So I told him, I says, I'm not laying on the ground pulling it out. So I had him bring it up here to work. Well, I guess the uh, the boss found out about it, which I kind of went about that wrong. I should have talked to him first and asked him if it was okay, but I kind of assumed it was, which was the stupid thing for me to do. But anyway, he had asked me, whose brown towel was that out there? He says, well, that's so and so's up front. He says, well, what are you doing to it? Or says, what's it here for? He says, well, I'm going to pull the transmission out of it for it. He goes, no, you're not. I was like, okay, I'm not. He goes, that son of a buck, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, I opened up a can of worms. So uh, he says, you tell him to get that piece of junk out of here today. It's got to go today or I'll have it towed. Yes, sir. And so I pondered on it. I gave it about an hour, and I went up and I apologized to him and told him, I says, look, this is, I screwed up. You know, I'm not afraid to admit my faults. And, you know, that was wrong, and I should have cleared it with you first. But I figured it was helping. He goes, well, this so and so did something like this, and he's done it like 3 or 4 times before. I'm like, oh, I didn't mean to stir some feathers up. I says, I apologize. He says, well, you need to tell him to get that thing out of here. He says, 10-4. So I went over and talked to him. I says, hey, look, man, I'm getting too much heat off this Tahoe thing. Says, you need to get it out of here today. He goes, okay. So he got it out. And, you know, it's the same salesman that sold us the Equinox. Uh, I told him, I says, look, I says, I don't know what you got going on, but you got to get that thing out of here, and you know, if we'll figure out something else. I may have just lost the job, but I mean, it is what it is. But anyway, my service manager come back and says, hey, we need to step outside the door and talk. I says, okay. So I went out there with him, and he said the same thing. He says, man, he says, uh, he goes, you're lucky he didn't fire you. Says he likes you too much. I was like, yeah, I know. I says, you know, if it would have happened, it would have happened. I mean, it's just a consequence you run into. I says, it was a screw up on my part. And so that was a bad deal, but I think we got it cleared up, and we're all good. So Smitty's got uh, 2 engine jobs going on right now up there at work. One's a 22 Tahoe with a 6.2 in it, doing 6.2 things. And the other one's a 5.3 that had a tappity tap in it on a 19. I don't get many engine jobs anymore. They mainly stuck me with transmission, but nonetheless, I got the heads off the 19 last weekend, and it had a failed lifter. Yeah, Stephen, it was pretty bad. I'm glad that everything's calmed down and we're good. Like I said, I went up there and apologized to him personally. You know, I told him, I says, you know, I got broad shoulders. I'm not afraid to get a butt chewing over something, you know, something stupid I did. And he was right. It was wrong on my part to do what I did, but you know, occasionally I make mistakes too. I'm human. My wife tells me I make mistakes all the time. Yeah, not really, but anyway. So if you get on Facebook and you find some pages and stuff like that, there'll be people talking about the 6.2 liters that GM's got, and all the problems we're having. And this thing here came in as a no start on a 22, and turns out the 400 amp fuse for the starter was blown. And usually when that happens, that means the starter's drawing too much current and it pops the fuse. And this one did just that. And the engine, once it warms up a little bit, it won't start. It won't turn over because it locks up. I drained the oil out of it yesterday, and it was a little sparkly. Mustang Dark Horse, huh? Well, let me punch that in here. Mustang Dark Horse. Holy crap, it does. It looks a lot like the Camaro. I bet that's going to piss a lot of Mustang owners off. Well, the tail end doesn't look like a Camaro, so I mean, I guess that's a plus, but I miss Bailey. I miss Bailey. Yes, we are. That doesn't look that bad. They're starting to go off to that new that squared off look again. Man, the body lines though. Holy cow, the body lines look like a Camaro. The only thing that's probably saving it is the butt of this thing. That's crazy. The Ford Camaro. No, she's not gonna bite me. She just she's a lover. But anyway, so I'm in the process of getting this engine out of this Tahoe. Man, you want to talk about a job? I guess warranty time's like almost 19 hours on doing an engine swap in one of those. That's crazy. I'm about 9 hours into it, and I've just about got it out. I got to get it tore down and find out what failed in it, see if it's engine replacement time or what the scoop is. I know it had an engine oil cooler leaking, so it'll get the line set and a new radiator. But anywho, well, at least the rain held off until tonight. They said it was supposed to rain earlier today. So if you guys don't know, I don't know if it's going to be a problem where you are. And according to the little ticker up here, there's not but just one of you here. So I'm assuming that's Steven. It has been a while since I posted a new video. I haven't had a chance to sit down and edit anything. Rain continuing through 1 a.m. as it says. The high tomorrow is only going to be 63. Looks like we've got chances of rain all this week. Good strong possibility of Thursday and Friday. Well, it's about that time. We need the rain. But that's our, they call it a Florida room. It's basically a sunroom off the back of the house, and it's got one of those insulated metal roofs, kind of like what they make a insulated garage door out of. Stephen, my plans for Easter is I'm going to go to church in the morning. and the wife has to work, and she says it's going to be a busy day tomorrow. And other than that, go to Easter. Um, might stay a little bit after church and see if there's anything going on, and then I'll come home. I've got I've still got to get this other fridge out of the house. Our old one. It's still working. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the other garage fridge that we got out there now. It's the original one I had when I bought my first house. Still works great. Still freezes and cools just fine. I think I'll sell it and put this one out there. And excuse me, good Lord. If the weather rains tomorrow, obviously I'm not going to get much done. But I've been working on the landing gear for the camper. Ordered some repair kits for them because they just flat wore out and they quit lifting the camper. So it's got a pair of jack stands underneath of it right now, holding it up, and I need to get that fixed and then start working on the roof. I put it on the driveway so I could have somewhere solid to work. But I need to probably had to get up and do a few sealing on the roof and some other odds and ends. I still got to get my tank valves replaced. I think I may see if I can find somebody to do that. I don't know if I'm going to find anybody that's willing to do it. But we got a trip planned in July for my wife's birthday. I think Stephen, I didn't think anybody'd be interested in them, so I hadn't planned on doing. I've got a few videos out there on the camper, but I haven't published anything because I like I said, I didn't think anybody'd be interested in it, um, especially not since it's car content. I thought about putting it on my other channel. Yes, I have another channel too, but I haven't posted any videos on it. It's just called Smitty TV. But like I said, there's no videos on that channel. But I thought maybe I'd post something out there and just kind of keep the car content to this channel. I don't know. I'm kind of losing my faith in YouTube. As far as being a viable second source of income. Um, I did get a company send me some lights to check out, and I haven't done anything on that yet. I don't know, maybe I'll get lucky and be able to record a video tomorrow. I got to clean up my shop a little bit I had to do a repair on one of the transmissions I built that it didn't fail, but it burned up the 3/4 because it had a leaking or check ball capsule for the 3/4 clutch, and it also had a bad pressure control solenoid. Yeah, I've got 3,600 subscribers. I wish I could get more of them come to the live stream, but I think a lot of them, what that I noticed there's a trend on them. A lot of them has to be with people that don't have many subscribers, um, newbies, if you will. I just, I wish I had more time to do this, and the income potential was a little bit better, which it's not. Guys, YouTube doesn't pay squat for doing these videos. They really don't. Um, I don't think they pay as much as they should for as much time that you put into it. An influencer, being an influencer and getting traffic and all the commercials and ads they put on your videos, I think they should pay a lot better than they do. Um, it would probably keep more people interested in it, and they wouldn't lose any money out of the deal. But the I think that the censorship thing, just in my opinion, is a lot of what keeps people from doing it. It's because they're afraid to put anything out there that they might be cut and be basically told to shut up, which it's wrong. But and I think the algorithm has a lot to do with that. They really don't like people that, in my opinion, speak up or speak their voice. Strictly opinions. Um, but anyway. So how about you, Steven? You got any plans for the weekend? You do anything for Easter tomorrow? So here's a good topic. So what do you think of the Anheuser-Busch thing with them celebrating 365 days of being transgendered? Man, I tell you what, there's a lot of country singers that are dropping them and removing them from their venues, and uh, I wonder what the advertising guy is going through doing that. Yeah, yeah. Well, Kid Rock get out there and he had a couple cases on there and he just blew them to smithereens and told them to f off. And I thought that was fantastic. I was like, yes, sir. And I didn't understand what the deal was and why. Uh, a lot of it because I hadn't heard a whole lot of about it. And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, well, yeah. Um, I'm like I told the wife, we got to talking about that on the way into the grocery store. I says, look, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. But in the same aspect, I don't think it needs to be celebrated. I really don't. It's one of those things where if you want to be transgendered, that's great. Have at it. But it's not going to give you any special privileges, any special uh, Not going to give you any freaking Wizzo buttons or doggy biscuits or none of that stuff. I mean, technically, you're no different from anybody else. It's to me, I don't think it's something that needs to be celebrated. It's not, it's not worthy of it. That's part of my point, Stephen. I mean, and the fact that in some areas there's uh, this is all stuff I've read, so I don't know how true it is, but I mean, they're saying like that this stuff is being taught in the schools. And there was a story out about an 11-year-old kid and his father went to a school board meeting, and this 11-year-old read this book word for word that came out of the library, and it's talking about uh, sexual orientation. And he read it word for word, and I guess what was coming out of this kid's mouth was astonishing. Hey, Jerry. Yeah, Stephen, you're exactly right. And I just think about all the stuff that when I grew up, granted, I'm not that old, but I mean, my high school days were in between 1984 and 1990. So I graduated in 90, and I can remember we didn't have any of that stuff go through our schools. There wasn't a conflict of race, gender, uh, nationality. We didn't care. I mean, we had all sorts of different people in it, and it wasn't a big deal. And nobody made a stink about anything. You didn't have to make a stink about it. We just all got along. What about the Indiana Civil War information, Jerry? What's going on there? I guess I hadn't seen any of that either. Oh, that's the original Civil War, that in part of history. Okay. Well, look who that is. There's Mike Massey. Hey, if you're all in the channel, give me a thumbs up if you would, please. I would appreciate it. Get the YouTube algorithm working. Trying to get these videos out to more people. You can't on Facebook. How's Mr. Mike today? Good morning. Well, it is morning somewhere. It's 4 a.m. somewhere. Brother, I'm going to tell you, this week has been rough on old Smitty. Thursday, I was wiped out. Friday, man, I worked on that stupid Tahoe all day, and I was just flat freaking bushed. Uh, Wednesday, I felt like I'd walked 5 miles. By the time I got out of there, I hurt so damn bad. I have a vandalized, unmarked cemetery that I investigate time. Oh, that's cool. Steven, I don't think I've watched, but maybe the first or the second episode. I haven't seen the latest, but you know, it's kind of crazy. Keanu Reeves in that he does all of his own gun work, and the guy's a marksman. He's damn accurate too, from what I've been seeing. Yeah, this is a 22 Tahoe, Jerry. So it's no fun at all. This thing's got the 10L80 in it, but yeah. Anyway, that they just kind of been running me ragged. I've been fighting this vibration up there in one that's a 15 Silverado with the 4.3 liter in it. This thing vibrates when it goes into V4, which is the active fuel management system. What a pain in the can that thing is. Oh yeah, yeah. The 22 has got almost every bell and whistle on it that you could ask for, but it's one that you got to pull the front bumper fascia off to be able to get the engine out. You got to pull the upper tie bar loose, and then the whole radiator and stuff comes out as one unit. And it's a pain in the butt, but it is what it is. I'll be mad if I get this thing out and I get it tore down and excuse me, I can't find anything wrong with it. But something's wrong with it. Because like I said, once it gets warmed up, it gets tight. And it very well could be a piston that's too tight in a bore. Are you still working on them two spark plugs? It's got to be the ones on the right side. Or is that on your Bonneville? Oh, yeah. I'm quite familiar with them right side spark plugs on the V8s. They're a pain in the butt. Um, but if it's on a van, I can give you a hint. It's a whole lot easier to go through the fender well. In fact, if I have to do spark plugs on a truck anymore, I won't lay over the top of the engine like everybody else does. I'll take the tires off, take the fender liners out, and go right through the fender because you get a straight shot at them, and you get a little better leverage for getting the stupid spark plug wires off. The 22 transmission technology, well, you don't even want to get into that. Well, the 2022s, most of them will use what the 8-speed, the 8L90, um, or it's got an option, which a lot of them are using what the 10L90, the 10-speed automatic, and the thing shifts all the dang time, and it's just to keep it at in the power band that they want. Ruby, our new to us Equinox, it's a 2020, and it's got a 9-speed automatic in it. And that car, if you're not paying attention, that thing will get away from you. It's very quick and it's so smooth. Um, Probably, I almost like it better than I do our Honda. Um, and it gets really good gas mileage. So, extra long ass wipes. Yeah. Um, I forgot what the hell I was saying. I hate that. Oh, so the wife come to me last weekend. She goes, "Hey, the fuel gauge is doing some funny things, and it says, 1 minute it says I got 80 miles left on the tank. The other time it goes to empty, and the low fuel light comes on." Well, anyway, long story short, on an all-wheel drive model like what we got, it has two fuel level senders in the tank. It has a primary and a secondary. Well, it finally set a code for it for a secondary fuel level sender high voltage, which usually what that means is the fuel level sensor is open. In other words, if you were trying to put your meter across it and test it, it would read an open circuit out of limits basically, and that'll set a high voltage code in the ECM. So this has what they call a fuel pump driver control module, and what that does is it basically it controls the evaporative emissions vent solenoid back there, the fuel level senders, the fuel pump. And the reason why it has a module to control the pump is it changes the output of the low pressure pump that's in the tank, depending on demand, at the high pressure pump that is mounted on the engine, because this engine has direct injection on it instead of like a normal multi-port injector like you would see in an intake. These actually inject fuel right into the cylinder, kind of like a diesel does. So anyway, it controls that because it's a returnless fuel system. So to keep from burning the pump up, they actually decided, well, we'll control the pump and control the speed of it, so it doesn't put all that wear on the fuel pump. Anyway, long story short on this whole thing, I measured the fuel level sender at that module because it goes right through it. And sure enough, it was open, which means that the fuel level sender is bad. So the only way you can get the secondary fuel level sender is it's part of the fuel tank. So I had to put a fuel tank in Ruby uh, last week to correct that issue. And it's worked fine ever since. And the wife really loves that thing. In fact, it's the preference. Like when we went to do our shopping today, she goes, "What are we driving? We driving Pops or Ruby?" I said, "Doesn't matter to me." She goes, "Ruby it is." So she was all happy about it. She wanted to drive Ruby. I think it's funny. It's great though. I'm glad she likes it, and it is a nice car. Yeah, there's a lot of technology for sure. It's just getting more complicated. Speaking of which, well, not technology wise, but we had to, as a requirement, we have to have a lift capable of picking up the new Silverado EV, which weighs over 10,000 pounds. Yes, I'm saying a Silverado EV weighs over 10,000 pounds. Just didn't make any sense to me. But anyway, so we had to get a new lift. And he ordered a 16,000 pound lift, and this thing is a monster. I mean, it is big. And we haven't got to use it yet, but man, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, a lot of us, Jerry, a lot of us guys are getting to the point where we don't want to work on them either. You know, it's getting more and more complicated where you have to be more of an electrician and an IT guy than you do um, a mechanical repair dude. Just a lot of us didn't sign up to be an electrician or an IT guy. We like the mechanical part of it because that's what makes everything go. But unfortunately, that's all stuff that's going away. But what happened to Doc? He was in here earlier, and I heard a couple peeps at him at first, and he disappeared. I do a lot of this live stream stuff just for sanity more than anything, and I really enjoy talking to y'all. Like I said, I'd love to be able to get to know a lot more of my subscribers. Penske dealership to FedEx employee airport service conveyor belt unload packages from jets. Oh, I'm not would be surprised. It's crazy. Oops. I'll tell you one thing, y'all. The I don't care what manufacturer it is, but I'm sure all of them are having issues as far as auto manufacturers. The quality control of what's being produced here lately has gone in the crapper. The stuff I see and the stuff that I've been seeing fail shouldn't be any reason for it. I mean, it's crazy. Well, I'll tell you what, it's been a super light night, and that's probably because of Easter weekend. As far as people being out here, so I think I'm gonna call tonight. Y'all have a very blessed weekend. Happy Easter to everybody, and make sure to celebrate. Um, and we'll see if we can't get something next weekend. Maybe get a few more people out there. So y'all take care of yourself. God bless you. And God bless America. Um, give a squeeze to your loved ones, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.